All right, so
Good deal, man. That's some good stuff, bro.
So, Josh, everybody's watching. They're probably going to ask us some questions. I want to ask you this. So, and for the people that don't know, Josh Latimer is the reason. Josh Latimer and Chris Phillips is the reason. They are the reason why I got into the Christmas light business through Street Bitter, which is the precursor to Senjim. That Josh, one of his visionary minds had to put out. I'm sure that most people on here are using it. If you're not using it, get your butt to Senjim and get signed up for that product. Awesome way to automate sending out 5 rounds and mail messaging. And I'm a firm believer that anything that you can automate, because I'm lazy, anything that you can automate makes it much better. So Josh and Chris Phillips are the reason why I'm in Christmas lights. So I met them in 2014 briefly at a booth that they had at the huge convention in Nashville. But something happened to you, Josh, right after that. And you got to take this little vacation to this tropical land. Tell us a little bit about that experience for those who don't know.
Sure. Yeah. Well, it's funny because we sold our company and it wasn't never listed for sale. And months before I ever got an inquiry to sell the company, I had felt this really weird feeling like we should move to Costa Rica, which I thought was an island, by the way. It's not an island. It's in Central America. And but I didn't know, and I thought it was weird. And we're just small local people. Like going to Canada, which is an hour drive in Michigan, is like that's like international for us, right? We're not cool. We don't do cool stuff. Well, I talked to my wife, and I'm like, and she's very, very family oriented. And I'm like, hey, I've been praying. I've been thinking. I have this weird, I don't know, like Costa Rica. I know it's weird. It's dumb. She's like, yeah, that's weird. I have no interest in doing that. I'm like, okay, it's cool. Well, then that night she has a dream that our whole family is getting off an airplane, and she wakes me up and she says, Josh, I had this weird dream. And we don't have dreams. We're not weird, dreamy, like everything's spiritual and there's a demon in every bush. We're not those people. But she looks at me, she says, maybe we're supposed to move to California because I had a dream that we were getting off an airplane in San Jose. And I told her, baby, that's the capital of Costa Rica, man, which she did not know. Okay. And we both were freaked out. And I was like, that's weird. Long story short, this is like a year before we sold the company. So we went on like a mission trip down there and we just like poked around, see if there's any opportunities with Young Life, which is a ministry that we both were involved in for over a decade. And we're just kind of like seeing what that was. And as we kept investigating it, we got more and more drawn. It got more clear that we should go there. But I was a little concerned about leaving my company in Michigan and just globetrotting down to Costa Rica. But that was the plan. It was automated business. I didn't work very much on it the last couple of years. We had a full team in place and everything. But it would have been easier if we could sell it because I always considered that a training wheels business anyway. And so what happened was we got a phone call out of the blue and a company in California that wanted to buy us, and very much so. Flew all the way to Michigan, like really, really. They didn't want to pay what we wanted for it. Long story short, I just said no, and then they changed their mind and paid a lot more for it. Don't know if they regret that or not, but they did. And so we moved to Costa Rica and were able to leave the business. And we were there for about a year and a half. It was an amazing experience. I learned some Spanish. Un poquito español, no mucho, solo un poquito. Para un gringo no es malo. Es muy bueno.
Donde están mis tacos?
So it was cool, and it made me understand how big the world is and how little I am and how small I think, because even going to California a couple of weeks ago, I'm like, my goodness, like we think so small. The market is so big. There's people everywhere. There's opportunity everywhere. And we forget it when we're fighting the good fight, like locally, trying to survive.
Yeah. So I started following you on Facebook right about the time when you guys were in Costa Rica, and I'm like, what? Costa Rica? What the heck's going on? And it was very cool to see. I've been on one mission trip. It was about 12 days to Haiti, so not quite as glamorous as Costa Rica, but definitely understand the. That whole trying to get to a place to help people where there's sometimes despair, sometimes helplessness, sometimes hopelessness changes your mind. But at the same time, we have that here. We have that in this country. I did a post today about our area of the country right now is experiencing a ton of rain. We're starting to see some flooding in some areas. And 21 years ago, actually, in a couple of weeks, it'll be 21 years exactly, I lived in a house where we got a knock on the door at 7 a.m. and the military police were there saying, you guys got to get out of here because in 5 hours, water's going to be where I'm standing. And I saw people mobilize and become desperate to make things happen. And in life and in business, both, a lot of people don't have that sense of urgency to one, find their purpose, and two, pursue their purpose. We kind of sit around and wait for things to happen. And like Chris and I, we both have strong beliefs. I'm sure you do too, Josh, that I'm positive you do, Josh. Let me fix that. That we were put here for a purpose, and we need to be pursuing that purpose. And people get lost in that of, man, we get caught up in what I'm going to say, all the crap, social media, things that happen to us that we want to place blame and things like that. And the thing that I admire most about you, Josh, and I don't know you intimately. This is looking at you from afar, but the two times that we've gotten to talk doing your super course, and even before that when we had the conversation, man, number one, you pursue your purpose with passion. And to me, seeing that and then knowing that, you put your faith as part of that, as part of that pursuit, is very inspiring, and gives me kind of the sights to go after the same thing. And so I appreciate that as a leader in our service community, as a leader, and as an entrepreneur. I appreciate that from you, and I wanted to say that publicly to you.
Well, thank you, man. It's uncomfortable for you to thank me for that, because it's like, I just am like that. I don't know how to separate it. I'm very binary with stuff. This is one of my strengths and one of my weaknesses, but 2 + 2 = 4. Like, the reason we're here isn't to squeegee a thing or clean something, period. We're definitely not there, but that can be a vehicle to do other things like spirituality and your career and all that. It's all the same thing, man. It is. And there's times and places and there's strategy and stuff, but it's the same thing. I view business as a ministry. I haven't come out and hard on this yet, but after I send Jim, I build it up and scale it and do it, for a lot and sell it. That's my current focus right now. But I haven't even begun the reason I'm here yet. Here's the thing. I have to actually be better. Okay. Like, God's made it clear to me personally. Like, let me back up, because this is a hard topic. Because if people are struggling with this, they're like, they don't know their life's purpose. That's okay. What do you know you're supposed to do right now? Do that first. And don't stop doing that until you're dominating that. And then what happens is weird things happen. Okay. And so then a door opens here and then you're over here and you're like, that's weird. Focus on what is right in front of you. Put your head down and go all in on it indefinitely without complaining about how hard it is. And then boom, something will happen. Now for me, that was my cleaning company. And I went really deep and I knew I was supposed to automate it. I'm not money motivated. I've never been money motivated. I'm accomplishment motivated. And then when I went to the software, our software company, the whole reason I built it is this is a private one here. Is this still live stream?
It's live.
It's still live stream.
We got about 15, 20 viewers.
Well, okay. I'll just put it out there because I'm going to anyway later this year. But when I send Jim, 90% of the money I make from it is going to be given away to Christian ministries. And the reason I'm doing that is because that's my purpose. That's my function. But I don't get brownie points because I'm a Christian. I have to actually go into the marketplace and compete and understand my model and learn a whole bunch of really hard stuff and spend $1 million on software and figure it all out and hold it all. I have to do that regardless of all that other Jesus-y stuff. And God wants me to, because then I'll actually grow. Now, after I build this and I win at it and I sell it, exit it, and I've accomplished that, that's when me and my wife are going to start our real purpose, at least the next one that we're aware of. It's a ministry called Honor and Fire. And but I'm not getting distracted with that while I'm finishing this. And entrepreneurs are really bad about having shiny object syndrome and going this way and that way and this way and that way. There's a book by Gary Keller, and The One Thing, right? He's a billionaire. You open it up, and there's a Russian proverb right on like the first page. It says, if you chase two rabbits, you'll catch neither one. So I think it's about focused on what you know so far and getting deep on the things that you do know, not focusing on what you don't know. I know I got to do this. I know I got to at least get 100 customers. I got to at least get to this much a month. I got to whatever, and accomplish it. And then when you look back, you say that wasn't hard. And then something else will be hard. And then do that thing. And then do that thing. Very sequential.
Awesome. Josh, we want to respect your time, man. I know you have to get going here.
Yeah, one more thing I wanted to throw out there. And
dude, we're on your time, bro. We'll stay here for another 30 minutes, man. If you
I got all night. I got all night. So
I wanted to take I wanted to use part of this because you opened the door for us to talk about our faith, to talk about this idea.
Absolutely.
There's a scripture that says, you commit your plans to the Lord and he will establish them, right?
Proverbs 16:3.
Awesome.
I believe that is it.
Jesus loves you more than me, for sure. Okay. So commit your plans to the Lord and he'll establish them, right? And I think we read stuff like this, or you go to like a men's group or something and everybody's praying, really thinking about starting that second location. I'm just going to pray about it. I'm going to do that. But it's this perpetual planning phase. It's this perpetual, hopefully God opens the door for the thing. It doesn't work like that. That scripture gives us the roadmap. You want a blueprint? Do you want a blueprint for God holding you up and giving you what you desire? I'll tell you what it is right here. And I had an epiphany about knocked me on the ground when this downloaded into my brain one day. And it's commit. This is action item 1. Commit your plan, which has to exist. It's not just a hope. It's not just a dream. It's not something in your brain. A plan is a plan. It's a blueprint. It's written down. You've reverse engineered something. There's a date attached to it. It's legit, right? Like an architect. And then he'll establish it. So the first one's commit. And what's really crappy, but kind of the way God works, which is awesome, is that when you commit to something, like what he's saying here, there's not a timeline. He doesn't say, look, give it your best effort for a week and have a pretty decent plan, and I'll totally open the doors for you and grant your miraculous wishes of your life. It doesn't work like that. He says, commit with real blood, sweat, tears, laying groveling on the ground, worn out, your muscles hurt, your wife's mad, fix that, keep going, hold it together, stand firm, like you said earlier. It's messy when you commit to something. You commit for an indefinite period of time to the plan that you've established, which won't be perfect because you can't see the future and you overthink 700 times, but build a plan anyway, build something to say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go here. I'm going to do it by this date. And this is the result I'm going after. And I'm going all freaking in without having an expectation on God. In the midst of you living like that, the third part comes into play, which is where he establishes it, right? You're about to fall off the cliff and something catches your foot. You're about to collapse and go bankrupt and something happens. Look, this has happened to me over and over and over because I'm imperfectly sprinting and tripping and hitting my head and running in the weeds over there and then somehow getting back over here. It's much more messy on the inside of this than it looks from the outside because remember, Facebook is a highlight reel. That's what it is. That's what it's for, right? You take the cute pictures of your kids, not the ones where they pooped all over themselves and are pulling and biting each other. Right?
That's right. That's good stuff, man. That's good stuff because I think we can all relate to that. So that's good stuff. Give us a quick elevator pitch for SynGem and the super course coming out, and we'll end it there and let you get going, man.
Okay, I'll do that. Super course is amazing. It's taught by a variety of instructors, and you won't be able to not hear about it soon. So I don't have to overly pitch it. It's an amazing thing. People are sending me videos of themselves crying, husbands and wives. It's changing their life. It's unbelievable. And I'll just let the testimonials and the dozens of them that we have speak for themselves when the time comes, because we're still building and finishing some things up. And there's one more Jesus thing I want to say. And it's about King David again.
Oh, dude, bring it on. Last one. It has to do with David and Goliath, right? So like you have this goal, you feel different.
you almost feel bad that you feel different, right? Because you're like, you look at people around you, maybe there's a lot of mediocrity around you. There's a lot of low level thinking. There's not a lot of passion. There's not a lot of fire, but you're different. But you feel bad because you can't really be like that around those people because it's not congruent with them, right? And so you feel alone, right? Well, we look at King David in this story, right? And Goliath is his giant, right? Who's literally a 9.5 foot tall Philistine who's about to murder and butcher all these scared grown men wearing armor. And David's a 16-year-old kid. He wasn't even very big. He was like the lowly sheep herder kid of Jesse, right? And he goes out there and he's pissed, frankly. He's literally mad, okay, that this Goliath would defy the armies of God, right? So what does he do? He goes and he gets the stones. He walks out into the thing. He says an epic mini speech, and he hits him, throws a rock, kills Goliath, chops his head off in front of all these grown men who are just like peeing their pants. But what I think is interesting about the story, this is just my opinion, this is my theory on this, is that God himself didn't even get involved, like supernaturally, until the rock left the sling. Right? Because, this has to go back to that commit your plan to the Lord, then he'll establish it. And when you walk and get the rocks and everybody's staring at you, and you walk out in the middle of the battlefield and the giant's mocking you, and you put it in your thing and you start swinging it, right? And everybody's still laughing at you, feel sorry for you, and then you let it go, then it is on God. If your heart's in the right place, if you are pursuing your calling, then it's on him. After you did all that crazy, risky, scary stuff, then is when he comes. When Peter walked on water, he gets out of the boat and all the stuff. It worked, but he got out of the boat. He did stuff. He went for it.
That's right. That's good stuff, man. So you got to take action. That's one of the things that we talked about was taking action.
We're required.
And I think you say it. Yeah, you say something to me that really stuck with me. I always take these little gold nuggets that you say. It's not about perfection, it's about production, and sometimes you just got to get started.
Progress.
That's right. Progress. There you go. Progress, not perfection.
Progress, not perfection.
And that's something that's always stuck with me, man. That just start moving.
With Adam and Eve, right? There's Adam and he's like on the earth and stuff, and God's like, hey, check it out, I made an earth and stuff, and you can live on it and stuff. And Adam's like, that's really cool. And then he's showing him the earth. And there's waterfalls and alligators and scorpions and dangerous stuff everywhere. And what does he tell Adam? He's like, listen, Adam, here's the deal. Stay right here because, I make sure you put 12% away in your 401k. Okay. I want you to make sure that you take your vitamin B because you can there's a flu going around in the Garden of Eden right now. And no, he doesn't say that. He doesn't say be safe, right? He tells Adam, you see this thing called the earth, this big blue ball, right? Subdue it.
That's right.
If that isn't a mic drop, that's why we watch Rocky. That's why we watch Braveheart. Right. Because we're supposed to be doing the subduing of things, but we do it vicariously while we get fat and eat Cheez-Its and don't actually do anything. And that's the problem.
That's good stuff, man.
I like to think maybe he said, hey, Adam, look around. Dominate this earth.
That's right. That's right.
Sorry.
Have dominion over it.
That's right.
That's
have dominion over
pick
it.
Up my kids, guys. This was a ton of fun.
Josh, appreciate it, man. We thank you very, very much. Hopefully we can maybe grab some time from you later, but thank you. Josh Latimer, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, dude.
Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Chris Martinez, always a good time, man.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, I learned so much, man. You have a good one, Josh. Thanks.
Thanks, Josh. All right, guys. Well, hey, again, thanks again for hanging out for the after show Operation Dominate podcast. Look, we try to have a format sometimes, but we knew today that the format was kind of off the table. We wanted Josh to be able to share with us as much as possible. We appreciate you guys hanging out. Chris, take us home, man.
Hey, man, dominate every area of your life, man, not just your business. Dominate your marriage, your relationships, your health, every area of your life. You need to dominate it and, start building your dreams. Start asking what your dreams are. Start asking yourself, what's going to drive me? What's my purpose? in this life. My purpose isn't to wash windows, but washing windows is driving me towards my purpose. And like Josh said earlier, just get started. I didn't know I was even good at marketing until I started picking up a squeegee. So maybe who knows what picking up a squeegee will do for you? Who knows what just getting started will do for you? It's going to open doors. Now, here we are doing podcasts with Gary Guyman and Joshua Latimer. So guys, dominate your life. Get rid of all the excuses. Go to war for your dreams. Create your dreams. Go to war for them. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and we will see you next Friday at 3 Central, 4 Eastern.
Thanks, guys. Have a good weekend.